I'm Holly Thornton, and I'm going into my 13th year teaching middle school band. Lucky 13. I appreciate the opportunity today to connect with so many of you and to share some of the successes we have found so far in this very challenging year. With so much uncertainty, one thing I am certain about is that we're only going to get through this together. I currently teach in Okemos, Michigan, where I teach 5th and 6th grade beginning band. So I only have beginners, and we are in a fully virtual school year for the first 9 weeks, at least, if not longer. When that decision was made, I made the call that we would not start instruments right away. So welcome to my band room. I'm primarily teaching from home, and our students are working on all kinds of other skills until we do start instruments, which is still to be determined. We're in about week 6 of online teaching, and right now we don't know when or if we'll be going back in person or what it will look like if we do. I'm in awe of those of you who are teaching hybrid or live streaming your classes, other creative solutions. At least for right now, I can appreciate that I can focus on one new learning modality, being online. But because we're all in situations that can change quickly or pivot in a new direction, my primary goals right now are more directly related to establishing relationships and culture, so that whatever we're trying to learn and wherever we're trying to learn it down the road, we as a band have developed relationships and routines. This is always a crucial element of band, particularly for beginners, but even more so now that we are together but apart. Of course, in terms of actual content, we're spending lots of time doing note reading, rhythm counting, posture and breathing, some non-performance centered activities that we don't usually have that much time for. So we're emphasizing some listening and responding and creating in Crow Music Lab, which is a great resource as well. We've had more time to discuss active listening and engaging with music, developing a vocabulary to talk about tone and identifying instruments, which will of course be really helpful when they first start making sounds in a few weeks. And there's definitely a lot of time, as you would expect, with younger students outlining expectations and creating our virtual classroom culture. But what I believe is making online band work in many ways is the same thing as our in-person classes. We center our classroom around trying new things with humor and honesty and reinforcing the belief that anyone can do this if you will just try. This attitude is infused into every counting exercise, note reading activity, listening assignment we do in our class meetings. I suspect many of our youngest students in particular are struggling to build the confidence and isolation that we normally bolster up by doing things as a large group. And in this crazy time, we pretty much all have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. My students are beginners, so everything's new and vulnerable, but I bet you and your students are trying some new technology or lessons, and that can be uncomfortable too. So I believe the more we can acknowledge and normalize this experience, the better. By emphasizing the learning cycle of try, fail, reflect, try again, we're planting the seeds of good practice habits and ultimately habits that they need with or without instruments. Hopefully by modeling this, we can encourage them to stick with us, whatever the current learning situation is, because it will only get better with each try. While we're all figuring out Zoom and smart music or whatever the tech du jour in your area is, we're also trying to redesign our feedback and assessment. We're losing so much of that formative or informal feedback that we get as we walk around the classroom and make adjustments. There's a clear shift toward the individual far more than the group while we're online. And I feel like this is an incredible opportunity to address diverse needs and honor different experiences. One of the ways we have met this need in my classes is through the use of an individual assessment system. We call them pass-offs. Many of you may call them objective sheets. We've used these in the past in person as well, but they're becoming a cornerstone of what we need to be operational online. So just having any set of concrete goals with checkpoints for student self-assessment and then teacher evaluation once they've achieved mastery is critical in all learning, but especially online where our students are really in the driver's seat. We need to invite our students into that feedback loop and give them ownership of their learning because we simply don't have time to do it all ourselves. Even if we did, my students need the opportunity to see their own growth and problem solve and celebrate their successes. For pass-offs and many other aspects of online learning, I have embraced some tools such as Flipgrid, Pear Deck, and Google Slides, which apparently can do just about anything. And I can say with certainty that I'll continue to use and expand upon these options in the future because I'm getting a much more in-depth picture of each student's learning. And besides, those Flipgrid videos where they introduced themselves to me at the beginning of the year, nothing cuter. As long as we can guide our students to keep trying, growing, owning their learning, we will be able to connect with our students and continue to make music in some form. For all the challenges teaching online presents, I believe this can be an opportunity to infuse new approaches and tools and to make band classes more relevant, engaging, and impactful, whether it's in the band room or on a screen.